Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you just happen to stumble upon this video randomly, my name is Elizabeth. I have a fashion and lifestyle fashion blog and I post a lot of pictures on there, a lot of things that I love on there. So if you don't know me, I'm gonna leave the link to my blog in the description box below, and I'm also gonna leave a link to my Instagram. You should probably check out if you're gonna watch the rest of this video to see if you even like the way I edit my photos. So let's get started. This is a question I get asked all the time and I wish I had a direct answer for you guys, but to be honest, it's more of like an explanation and it's just really hard because I want to answer all of your questions, but it's like too much. So, and that's kind of the reason I chose to do a YouTube video and not a blog post, because I feel like it would be a lot to write and it's just easier to explain and to show you. You'll see a little video pop up on either side of my phone as we're doing it. So I'm going to show you the apps I use to edit, how I do it, and just basically my whole little Instagram process. So just keep watching if that's what you're interested in. Okay, so a question I get asked so many times in my DMs is what preset I use. So I never know how to answer this question because I do use presets, but there are presets that I created on Lightroom and it's just kind of a preset that I like invented and it's kind of just like something that works for me, but it doesn't always work. So I tweak it depending on my lighting and all that. So it's not gonna necessarily work on every photo, and that is one of the reasons I've never released them or tried to sell them. I just feel like I'm not experienced enough in photography to do that yet, and I probably won't ever be, to be honest. When you purchase presets, it's still like a hit or miss, like, and you still have to tweak it. Even like when you go to buy them, it tells you, or the blogger that's promoting it or whatever it is, they'll tell you it needs tweaking here and there. So like if you really don't have an idea of how you want to edit your photos and you love a preset, go for it, edit it however you want. But for me, it's just like, it doesn't work for me. So anyways, I do use some presets I used on Lightroom, but then a whole other mess goes into it that I'm gonna explain. So let me get started. Okay, so let me see. What photo are we even gonna edit? Okay, I think we can do this one. Okay, so what I always like to do before I even begin editing, when I shoot photos, I shoot like a million. I think that's like the secret behind it too, is to just take a bunch. Even if you have like a bunch of the same thing, there's gonna be one that you like more than the other, and like to the naked eye you don't notice it, but you will notice it. I notice it. Like if you look at my camera roll, it's like all of the same photo over and over and over. But to me, I have like my favorites. So I will literally go in and favorite them. And like I had like this one, so I favorited it already. And then it automatically transfers into your favorites album. And that'll just make it easier for when you're editing to find the one you liked. So I'll do like 5 or 6 photos in this album, but then I'll narrow it down even further and pick 1 or 2 photos that I like really like, and I will put it in its own album. And I even have an album called this one. So I'll add to album this one. So then when I'm editing, I go to my this one album and it's right there. I know which one I'm talking about, so it's easier for me. So how do I start? So this is an app I just recently started using. I didn't really use it in the past, but I realized that it is kind of essential. Like there is something sometimes in backgrounds that is kind of an eyesore and you don't want it there. So it's called Retouch. I don't have it saved in my photography album yet, so we're gonna do this from the scratch. Alright, so I'll go to my album that I had named already, this one. I'll pick my photo, and then here you can see the TV in the back. I don't really like it, so what I'm going to do on this app is I'm going to remove it. It's super simple. You just highlight the object and then you remove it and it's completely gone. So sometimes it's easy like that, and sometimes you'll remove an object and it'll still be a little funky, it'll be a little distorted, and you can like totally tell it's been edited. So what I like to do from there is I'll save it and then go into Facetune, which is the next app I use. But here it did it perfect. I don't think I really need to edit anything else, so I'm just going to save it as is. Now I'm gonna go into Facetune. I'm gonna open my new photo. Alright, so we have our photo here. What I like to do on Facetune, I love to do several things. I have a list so I don't forget anything. So Facetune, I know it's kind of like people don't like to say they use it because it's kind of like editing, but I don't like yourself and your imperfections and all that. But honestly, I don't see a problem with it. If you have something in your picture that if you love a picture and you don't love your pimple in it, edit your pimple out. It's not a big deal. Who cares? I don't really see the purpose of like hiding that you use Facetune. I use Facetune for my photos. Everyone uses Facetune, let's be honest. So what I like to do on Facetune, I like to smooth out imperfections because the iPhone camera is like really good, a little too good sometimes, and it'll get all your pores, it gets in there. So I like to smooth it a little bit. I never use the smoother tool because then that just like gives you a whole other like too fake look, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna show you. So for example here, I have like just like a few little bumps here, my chin. I have this pimple scar that like always shows in my photos and I hate it. So I always smooth it, but it's still there. Anyways, I'm gonna continue smoothing my under eyes a little bit. You can barely tell on this photo because it's kind of from far away, but I just wanted to show you guys. You know, this little pimple scar kind of uses smoother because it's just so bad. My arm kind of looks a little like discolored, so I'm going to smooth it out. The bag, I feel like that's just because the mirror was a little dirty, so I'm going to smooth that. And just to be safe, I'm going to smooth the wall in the back where we took out the TV, just to make sure there's nothing in there that I'm not realizing. So basically that's it. Then I also like to do details, and for details I like to just add like to my bag, to my bracelet, so it pops a little bit more. Like you see, now you see it a little bit better. I also love to pop my highlight because, you know, in pictures like it kind of fades away your makeup, so I like to pop it a little bit more. You can see that. And then maybe a little bit on my eyes, but don't go too heavy on the eyes because a lot of people make that mistake too, and then it's just like it looks fake. So just like a little sparkle in my eye a little bit. And that's pretty much it for this photo. I will also like to whiten. Here I'm not smiling, so I'm not going to whiten my teeth. Also be careful with that. I like to do one swipe really quick. And it also depends on the photo. Sometimes my teeth already look white in a photo, so I'm like, I'm not going to add any more. That would just be crazy. But sometimes like the lighting is weird, so I whiten them a little bit. But I like to use this a lot to whiten backgrounds. So if I'm in a room where it's like really yellow or the lighting is just like really yellow, I'll go ahead and whiten the wall in the back or whatever the case. This one looks pretty white. I don't really want to edit the wall, but like if you were going to, you can see like it gets whiter, but here I don't want to do that. So I'm not. Now what are we going to do? What else do I use Facetune for? Looking at my list. That's pretty much it. That's what I use Facetune for. So then I'm going to go ahead and save it and go on to my next app, which I'm going to go into my next app, which is Lightroom. And Lightroom is where I like brighten things up a little bit. I love Lightroom. I have been using Lightroom forever. It is like so easy to use on the mobile app. I don't really use it on the desktop. I find it very complicated. I have never edited my photos on a desktop, and I don't think I ever will. That's just not for me. I am just the type of person that likes to do things on their phone, and then that's it. Like if I could edit this whole video on my phone, I probably would. This I'm gonna probably have to do on my desktop. But so on here I have a few presets, and so I have named them. I don't know why I named them. I think I did this one because my niece Sophia was really good for her since she's tan and has dark hair. This preset was good for her. But these are the ones I have. And this one's very yellow. This one's really... This one, I don't know. This one's like perfect for Sophie. And then this one is... Usually the This is usually the one I go with, and then I tweak it because it just needs a little tweaking here and there. So another thing I love to do is if I have a photo that I recently edited that I loved how it came out, I will go to that photo. Let me see. I know I have one that I did recently. Oops. One that I did recently that I loved. It was at my sister's house. School stuff, okay. This one. I liked how this one was. I liked how the colors brightened and it wasn't too much. So I will copy settings, all of the settings, and then I'll go to my photo and just paste them on here. And that also helps keep things cohesive, so that you have the same filter. And right now I know it looks crazy because this is why. So there's this feature on Lightroom called selective, and you can select certain areas that you want to like brighten or make darker or whatever. So in the other photo it was like my whole body. This one my body's kind of far away, so that's why you have like that weird shadow. So I'm gonna go and erase that. But pretty much that's like what I like. I think I'm gonna make it a little bit, this is gonna only edit my body because whatever's red. So I'm gonna go ahead and make it like a little bit brighter just because it was a little dark. I think I'm gonna bring up the saturation a little bit just because I think I like it that way. The warmth a little bit. There we go. And then you can tell in the back over here, it's kind of weird. And I think that's because on the other photo, the yellow saturation was a little bit too widened. That's like something I like to do in my photos is I'll go to color on Lightroom and you can control how certain colors look. So in the yellow, I always like to make it very, I like to make the luminance really high so that it's almost white. It kills the yellow. I don't like the yellow. But here it's too much, so my wall is like distorted, so I'm gonna go ahead and lower that, and you see how it kind of goes back to normal. So that's what I'm gonna do. You could also play with it around, like if you have a sky in your background, you can play with the blue or whatever, but this one has no blue, so I'm not gonna do that. And there's just so many other things you can do on here. Make it like the size is Instagram. Portraits are 4x5, so I always do that one. And then we have our before and after here. But we're not done yet because I love to go into VSCO. VSCO is an app that if you're looking for just slap on a filter and go, you don't want to go through all this extra work and all of that, then VSCO is the app for you. I love that app. Sometimes like if I'm posting something on my story really quick, or sometimes if it's just a photo with like without me in it, just like of a drink or something, I will just go on VSCO and put a filter from there and play with the filters on there and all of that. And I don't go through this whole process. But when I'm in it, it needs work. So I had edited this photo earlier, so you're going to see it there. But my favorite edits on VSCO, my favorite filters, are the J5 filter, which I'm going to show you right now. This one. And also M6. M6 is very creamy and like bright and kind of like earthy. I like to do this one. This is more of a recent find. I didn't really use it before, but then I liked it in some photos. I don't really use it when it's a photo of me because I feel like it washes me out a little bit. You can see here, and like I always tone down the filter, which is what I love about VSCO, is that you can tone down the filter. You don't have to use the whole thing. So I really like this one, but I think I'm gonna go with J5. So J5, I tone it down a little bit as well. And then I'll go into my exposure, and I feel like when I lower the exposure, it makes me look tanner. Like if I higher the exposure, you can see I look super white and washed out. If I lower it, it gives me more of a tan. So I kind of like lowering the exposure all the time and getting that like moody kind of look. So that's what I do, and then I'll go into saturation. If I notice that there's a lot of like color, I tone it down. I'm not really into that. Like you see, you could do that, but or like make it like very gray. I think it's like pretty good right there. You can also add a little bit of sun warmth, but I'm just gonna leave it like right here. I think that's pretty good like that. I also love going on VSCO and adding grain to my photos. I feel like it gives it a cool effect. It's not so like perfect. And also this is a good key tip, like if you smooth something out a little bit too much on Facetune, but you don't want to go back and like fix all of it, start from scratch, just add grain and you can't tell you smooth too much. So I'll add grain sometimes, but I don't want to add too much, maybe just like 2.0, which is barely anything, but you can go crazy with the grain or just minimal. So I'll leave it there. So that is my photo. And then what I like to do is go into plan. So the last thing I do, which you can skip this step if you really don't care about this. I'm like iffy, I'm in between. I kind of care, kind of don't care. Somewhere in the middle, but this is if you're planning a cohesive feed. So I've noticed that a lot of bloggers lately and people on Instagram are going for like that minimalistic look with a lot of filler photos of like a coffee. But anyways, filler photos, I totally understand. They are really cute and it gives artistic vibes and it makes your feed look bomb. But if you really don't care about that, then you can skip this step. I have noticed, like I've been debating if this is something that matters to me, and to be honest, it's like a little bit of both, because I will go on someone's page and if I don't feel like I like it right away from like just the outside, like the feed and all that, I will leave. I've done that before, and I feel like a lot of people do that because that's just how it is. But I do notice that I follow a lot of people that I love following, and then I look at their feeds and they're not cohesive at all, or like they're barely, like they're not trying so hard or whatever, but I still love following them. So I feel like, and I've asked people too, like I've asked my sisters, I've asked friends, and honestly people don't care. I don't know why we as like bloggers and content creators and stuff, why we care. I guess it's because we see like the artistic side of it and stuff like that, but no one really cares. I still like to keep it a little bit cohesive. I don't try like crazy to do it, but I do like to keep it somewhat there. So you can see I already posted this photo today, so it is there already and it looks good. But I'm gonna post this photo next because I gave this to my sister and I took a picture of it, and it's part of a campaign I'm doing. So I haven't edited yet. I haven't edited the photo yet, but I kind of wanted to see like a rough draft of how it's going to look, so I put it in. Basically you can just choose your photo and just put it in. So again, if you don't really care, skip that step. I just do it because sometimes I have a lot of photos to post in a week and I'll see like which order I want to post it in, which one's going to be cuter. But honestly, it changes all the time, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you the before and after of the photo. Before and the after. I don't really like that heavy edited look, but sometimes achieving that not so heavy edited look takes a little extra time. So that is how I edit my photos. I hope that was helpful for you. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving, like in the sense of which filters I use and all of that, but that is the basic like routine basically. I do the Retouch, the VSCO, the Facetune, the Lightroom. Those are the apps I constantly keep coming back to. So I feel like if you play around with them, you will find your style, you will find how you like to edit your photos. And also I feel like it's really helpful seeing someone else play around with the apps because it kind of gives you a better idea, and also you learn new tips and tricks, because like for example that whitening of the backgrounds on Facetune, I remember I learned it from a video I saw on YouTube a long time ago, like when I first started. So hopefully you learned something new, and hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up please if you did, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos. Description box, I'll link everything. I'll talk about the apps a little bit further, and I'll link my Instagram and my blog so you can visit those. And that's it. Thank you.